Marcus Warren joins me once again in the studio. He is with Warren Wealth Management. He is the main man there. All right, Marcus, we've all had this happen to us. A friend approaches us and he says, surefire, can't miss. We're all going to be millionaires.
Right.
Sounds perfect. Is there a such thing?
You know, John, from the beginning of time, people have been looking for the perfect investment, right? And unfortunately, there's been a lot of brokers and advisors who have professed that they have that perfect investment. But unfortunately, just like you said before the break, the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
They don't exist.
It just doesn't exist, right? I mean, actually, I wasn't going to say UFOs, but we know that those exist now.
Those are real, yeah.
But seriously, though, the perfect investment. What is the perfect investment? Well, the perfect investment would have three particular attributes. The first one would be that it would be completely safe, that you can't lose any money. You would have financial security. So you put your money in and you know that you have no chance of losing it. That would be number one. The second is that it would be completely liquid, meaning that you'd be able to access your money whenever you want it, no lockup period, no holding time frame. You'd be able to get it whenever you want. And then, of course, lastly, it would get you a pretty solid rate of return. You would be able to make a lot of money. It would just appreciate, appreciate, and appreciate. But unfortunately, it doesn't exist. That would be the perfect investment. It doesn't exist, and there are sacrifices and trade-offs that have to happen.
Yeah, so I'm curious. So we look at all of this here, and is this the checklist? This is everything that we're talking about, okay? Just want to make sure. I'm curious. What should you look for in a good investment? I mean, how do you differentiate between, okay, this one over here is something I really don't want to even take a close look at, and this one may be worth a look-see? How do you, I know there's not the perfect, but is there one that maybe is more likely to succeed, and if so, why? What are the attributes? Well,
it would really depend on your individual goals and what you want to accomplish. And so when people are looking for that perfect investment, just like I said, it would have those three attributes, but you really can only have two out of the three. And so to answer your question, so say that you want an investment. What's important to you, number one, is safety. And then it is also liquidity. So you want your money safe and you want it liquid. What are you going to have to give up? You're going to have to give up that potential for a big rate of return. And so what investments are safe, completely safe, you can't lose money, and are liquid? And those are things like short-term CDs, money market accounts, interest-bearing checking accounts, savings accounts, things that are going to keep your money safe, and if you need it the very next day, you can have access to it. But what you have to give up is that rate of return. And so that's one of the sacrifices if you want safety and liquidity. Now, some other trade-offs that have to happen if you're looking for that perfect investment. So say you want your money safe, right? You want it completely safe, you don't want to lose money, but you also want the potential for a good rate of return. You want to make money.
Sure.
You're going to have to give up some form of liquidity. And so what types of investments are out there that can keep your money completely safe and give you a decent rate of return? And those are things like annuities, long-term bonds, where you can have the potential to make a good rate of return, but there's holding periods. Annuities last anywhere from 5 to 15 years. You have long-term bonds that can go out all the way to 30 years. Of course, real estate is an investment that's not liquid. It's an illiquid investment. You can't sell it the very next day, although in this hot market, you can sell real estate just like that. But generally speaking,
yeah.
You have to give up that liquidity. And so, if you're looking for something like that, that's the trade-off. And then last, say you're not so concerned about safety, but what's important to you is liquidity, and you want that potential for a good rate of return. You're going to have to give up you're going to have to give up some safety, right? And what are those types of investments? And those things are, you got stocks, you got your mutual funds, basically stock market type investments, your exchange traded funds. And number one is very liquid, meaning that if you buy a stock, you can buy a stock when the market opens at 9:30 and you can sell it an hour later, right? So you can have access to your money just like that. Mutual fund, you can buy it one day, sell it the next day. And then the rates of return. We know that the market right now, it's at historical highs. We know for individual stocks, we know stories about Tesla and how that shot up. All the tech stocks have shot up. So you have that potential for fantastic returns. But you have to give up safety. We know that the market can drop just like that. We know that these stocks can drop. Actually, something else that would fall into that category, cryptocurrency, right?
Seen a lot of that.
It's liquid. You can get a fantastic rate of return, but you got to give up safety because that stuff can go to zero just like that. And so those are the things. So no perfect investment is out there. You have to think about those trade-offs and be willing to sacrifice, knowing that you only can get 2 out of the 3.
These are conversations that you want to have with your clients, and I think this is really good information to have. Real quickly, has there been any good opportunities due to COVID? You know, you try to look for a positive in a disaster like COVID, but there are maybe some investment opportunities out there. You notice how digital's blowing up and Zoom calls and that kind of thing? Yeah,
and during that time frame, like right now, moving forward, who knows? But of course, looking back through the rearview mirror in hindsight, of course, the biggest beneficiaries from a bad situation from COVID are the tech stocks. You have your Amazons, your Zooms. Apple, a lot of those companies started to, at least their stock price rocketed because of people were quarantined at home, and so people got online and started communicating via Zoom, started ordering things online, and so those stocks, of course, went up. Moving forward, you just never know. As an investor, as a retiree, the best thing you can do is make sure that you are diversified. You have to have assets in all of those different asset classes that I talked about. You got to have stuff that's safe, but to give you a good rate of return. You got to have stuff that is liquid, but can get you or gives you a level of safety. So you just have to make sure that you have a plan, you have a system, and you're diversified.
Yeah. And once again, if you're looking for investment, you need a level head and a man who is well educated in the field, and that is Marcus Warren, whether it be taxes or wealth management. He definitely is a fantastic resource. Set up an appointment today. Let's talk about this rescue plan, this retirement rescue game plan, and how can folks get it?
Yeah, so a lot of retirements out there are in distress. So we came up with this retirement rescue game plan to help save those retirement plans. And basically what it is, you get a physical packet of information delivered free of charge to your front door. It has a copy of my 2 books. It has some financial reports in there, and then it has access to my webinar that's entitled Taxes in Retirement. Go to warrenwealth.net. Order that bad boy, and you will not regret it.
Yeah, I love talking to you, man. Really good information. So once again, Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, and the
Sasquatch,
perfect investment,
right.
They all belong together.
They do not exist.
They do not exist. Okay, once again, Marcus Warren of Warren Wealth Management.